My fault. All right. Y'all can see me? See it?
Yes. Yes.
All right, we're going to talk about creation. Thank you for your patience. This is chapter 6. Creation. So let's chat. Let's chat. This doctrine of creation. And remember, you may have different thoughts, or you may follow different things. Remember, we are theology is how we see God. So we're studying different ways to see God. And in this particular chapter, we are studying seeing God as a creator, where it all began. And this particular doctrine of creation is really the basis of all Christian theology. So it says, well, where did we get the tree from, and where did we get the people from, and why do we have this, that, and the other? Because of the Creator. Okay. And so this tells us the doctrine of creation as God as creator tells us that God has a relationship with the world, that God does things with and for the world, that the humans in the world are God's creation, that they've been formed or made, not haphazardly, but from a creator. Okay, so this whole thing of doctrine of creation, okay, it means that God is creator. So if you see that later on your quiz, okay, and remember, this is the basis, or this is the foundation of Christian theology, that everything started from God. So it's interesting. I found this little picture up here at the top of these hands, somebody's hands, right? It looks like a universe or something. And I was trying to find a good picture, to describe creation. And this is the only thing that came up that was halfway decent. Okay. But remember last week, last week we talked about God being active and God as spirit, right? And so we know that this is just a picture. But remember last week that as we talked, and it's just somebody's hands, it's just a human hand, right? But remember last week as we talked, God as spirit, and the human beings will describe God in human ways, right? They'll say God walked, God talked, God extended, God did this, that, and the other. Okay, so we imagine God with hands, right? We imagine God with feet creating the world. Okay. Now, I want you to step back a little bit, and we're going to talk about the creation story. So if you give me a second, I need to pull this up on the screen. And we're going to look at the creation story in the book of Genesis. Okay, Genesis 2. And as we talk about God as creator, if God is creator, then everything, or every person and every bug and everything, every person has its origin in God or must depend on God. That's what that doctrine says. And of course, right, you probably remember other scientific theories about creation that are contrary to this particular doctrine. Okay, so I'm gonna go to Genesis 2, and if you just give me a second, I'm gonna pull this up on the screen, and we're just gonna look at this story of creation real quick. And if you have it, you're like me, I need stuff on the screen so I can see it big. And I'm gonna pull it up on the screen. Genesis 2. All right, I'm coming back to you, and I'm going to pull Genesis 2 up on the screen. Here we go. And this is the creation story. Opal, give me a thumbs up if you can see the scripture on the screen. Uh-oh. No.
Let's see it.
Got it. Okay.
I see it.
All right. Thank you. Okay, and we can we're gonna kind of just talk about this. I'm not gonna read it all out because it's a little long. Genesis 2, and it says, thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their vast array. Actually, let me go back to Genesis 1. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna go back to 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. And so we see God being active in terms of creation. You can open up your microphones. What else? So God created out of nothing. I want you to remember that we kind of talked about that in the last chapter. Okay. So now the earth was formless and empty, you know. So the creator God, so God is creator, created out of nothing. What else? What else in this chapter on the screen? What else do you see God creating?
Light.
Light. So up here, verse 3, light. Good. Keep going. What else is God creating?
Vegetation, it says, seed-bearing plants.
Yeah.
Fruit.
Plants.
Mm-hmm.
Trees, fruits, right. Trees bearing fruit with seed.
Mm-hmm.
Water. Did somebody say water?
No.
Sky.
Sky.
Yep, sky. I'm gonna go down a little bit more.
You know what? When you read about the water, it seems like the water was there. Was the water there? Because he said, let's separate the water, but he never said he.
Oh, that's good. So, okay, in verse 6, that's good. Let's see here. And God said, let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water. So God made it well. Okay, so I mean, Irene is saying, well, did God create the water?
Was the water already there? You know, I mean, he created everything. So at some point, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's just the way it reads. It's like the water existed.
That's a good point. Yeah, I never saw that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this might not necessarily be in a true sequential order.
That's true.
Because of that, yeah, I saw that too, and I said, okay, the water was already there, and just not just didn't every little thing. It's sort of like, to me, it was like generalized. The
Could have
big,
been generalized.
the big.
Yeah, it could have been.
And there was a separation of the water. And God called the vault sky. And it's just interesting reading it as a human. We're humans, right? We just can't even fathom making a world, you know? If you've ever watched somebody build a house or if you had your house built or something, and oh, it's just so interesting to see how they put it together, and they put the roof on, they put the door on, and you're like, oh, in a couple of months you can move into your new house. But to make a whole world, isn't that awesome? All right, light. Oh, we said light already, right? Oh, did we say the creatures?
No, and the stars. He made the stars.
Stars. That's right. All the creatures, all the wild animals. And then the people, the fish, the birds, the livestock. Okay. All right. So I just wanted you to see Genesis. What you had Old Testament with me, Genesis, in Genesis 1 and also in Genesis 2. You'll see pick back up in Genesis 2. I'm kind of going away. You see where Genesis 2 picks back up. This is a new chapter, but yet it's like a continuation of Genesis 1, and then they still talking about the seventh day. Okay. And then when you get into Genesis 2 and 4, right here, you almost get into another account of creation. So creation of the man and the lady. Okay. All right. But anyway, I don't want to get too far off. We are, let me go back to our presentation, talking about God as creator, one that makes things, makes people, makes animals and all that stuff. Okay, here we go. Now, what I was saying earlier is that the scientific theories will always go against what the doctrine of creation says, you know. Let me go right here. God creates things, or I said that, things and people. In Genesis 1, where we just read earlier, God created things out of words, out of commands, and said, let there be light, and then there was a light, right? Let there be these fish, and then there were these fish. Created things out of nothing. Okay, so let's examine over here on the right. And it says that God forms a world out of, and this is a term in your book, primeval chaos, just meaning like everything was just in disarray. And God, the doctrine of creation says the creator God came in and made things appear the way we see them today. Another thing that I want to lift up to you is, not sure, and my memory is so bad, if you had me for the Old Testament course, Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 is also found in some ancient Near Eastern mythologies, where it's called the Babylonian Elish. And they found this story had existed in ancient times and injected, God, did this and God did that. And so this story of creation, they found had existed for quite some time. So it's really interesting. Okay, let's go back and talk about creation. So we talked about God and creation. Okay, let me just pause, and I know I'm doing a lot of talking. Somebody open your microphone and tell me, what did we mean by doctrine of the Trinity? What was that?
3, the Father, who is God,
Mm-hmm.
the Son, who is Jesus,
Okay.
and the Holy Spirit,
Okay.
the power.
And,
Okay.
and go ahead, Opal. Do they work separately?
No, ma'am, they work all together and they have equal powers.
Okay, and they work all together, all in conjunction. All right, that's the doctrine of the Trinity. So when we come to this page, Christ in creation, Christ Jesus Christ also worked in conjunction with the Creator God. So watch this. So if the Creator God was creating, think about doctrine of the Trinity, then Christ was also working with the Creator God creating, okay? Creating things. And so the basic message of the New Testament, when you have New Testament, those people who going to be taking it this summer, you're going to lift up, or you're going to see that the New Testament is the basic message of the New Testament is that Jesus was a redeemer, is that the Redeemer, Jesus, is another name for Jesus, is also a creator. Okay. All right. So if you do this for a second, go over to the white part of this page, and there are two scriptures. Okay. Somebody open your microphone and I want you to read the first one. Let's look at Christ and creation in 1 Corinthians 8 and 6. Anybody feel led to read? You can read it.
I'll read it. Yet for us there is but one God, the Father, from whom all things came and for whom we live. And there is but one Lord, Jesus Christ, through whom all things came and through whom we live.
All right. Thank you, Opal. Let's unpack 1 Corinthians 8 and 6. Where do we see? This is just open discussion, no wrong answer. Where do you see, remember the Trinity doctrine, right? Father, Son, Spirit. Where do you see mention of Jesus Christ? And then where do you see mention in this verse of Jesus Christ doing something?
This is Reuben. In Genesis, he says, let us.
Yes.
So he says, let us. That means that there's more than one entity present.
All right. Good, Reuben. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go right back to the screen. Let's piggyback on what Reuben said dealing with the Trinity. And Reuben said, okay, so if we go back to Genesis, God said, let us create. Look at 1 Corinthians 8 and 6. Do we see Jesus doing it? What's Jesus doing?
It says, but one Lord, and Jesus Christ, through whom all things came and through whom we live.
All right. So if I had a highlighter, right, I will highlight right here. But there is but one Lord, comma, Jesus Christ, through whom, here's some action. So what's Jesus doing? Through whom all things what? If I had a came, if I could put a big circle around it, and through whom we
live.
Okay, so through all things came. Let's just look at that. All through whom all things came. That sounds like some birthing or some creation or some instituting something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you say, where did she come from? Oh, she came from Maryland. You know, I came out of that place. We came from our parents, right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Somebody say something. Okay. All right, let's go to our next one. Somebody read the next one. The next scripture, it says Colossians 1 and 16 by the little tool.
For in him all things were created, things in heaven, on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or power, rule, or I'm sorry, these letters are kind of small, a power or rulers or authorities. All things have been created through him and for him.
Awesome. Thank you. Colossians, this is deep. Both of these scriptures are in the New Testament. And in the book of Colossians, we have something really interesting. Christ in creation. So we're talking about, Christ was present and all things have been created through him and for him. Okay. And so remember, I like that. Thank you, Ruben, as Ruben went back to Genesis and tied it all together and said, well, we can tell our friends and family that, hey, let me show you something, that the Trinity was present during creation. All right, let's talk about tradition. Let's talk about creation in tradition. Y'all see these little beautiful animals? We got some pandas and bees. And I said, well, let me find things of creation. And we know, if, as we read back earlier, if the creator made things in the world, surely the animals and the bees have been made as well. All right, so back in history, let's talk about history a little bit. Theophilus of Antioch, this was in the late 2nd century. Theophilus said about the doctrine of creation, Theophilus said that, yeah, the creator made things out of nothing. Made creation out of nothing. Okay, now let's just pause and we can open this up for a discussion. Scientific theories say that things were created out of already existing stuff. Okay.
I agree with that because the creator created it.
Because the creator created it. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Moltmann's interpretation of creation. Now, Moltmann, Moltmann, it's another historical thought. His interpretation of creation out of nothing employs this Jewish idea. Okay, and I want you to make sure that you remember this word. You'll see it again. Zim, zum, zim, Z-I-M, zum, zim, zum. Interesting word, isn't it? And it's a Hebrew term where God, in order to have a relationship with the world, creates some space or contracts and make space for the creation to exist. And I thought that was an interesting way to look at it. And so Moltmann went a little bit further on this, making something out of nothing. And so he said, well, maybe this goes to, if y'all had the Old Testament class with me, Hebrew was spoken in the Old Testament. That's Jew, a lot of Jewish individuals will still speak Hebrew today. Okay. I want you to see this term. Look at all these wonderful things. Don't you like those birds? I thought those birds were just beautiful. But I want you to remember this term to know, creatio ex nihilo. Okay. Creation out of nothing. Okay, that's the Greek for creation out of nothing.
You know, when we talk about nothingness,
yes,
that's with our human limitation of what nothingness is.
That's right.
Because beyond our limitation, nothingness, because, the scientific, well, okay, we had a big bang, so things
Uh-uh.
had to be here to make the bang. So the creator had to create create everything to even make the bang happen. Because that's what scientifically they say is because one of the reasons is the Big Bang theory, everything exploded, and all that, and whatnot. But I think sometimes we think nothingness is sort of like a black hole. There was nothing there. But
Right.
the creator created everything. So we really, with our, because we don't even know the limits of our own entire universe and
Nope.
space. We just don't have right now the capability, the concept to be able to understand. I don't even think we can understand nothingness.
I don't think we can. No, because we're human and we're finite people. Remember, finite and infinite. So you remember, we're finite. God is infinite. Ramona brings us to a really good point. Ramona, I'm going to fast forward real quick to slide 9 because I want y'all to hear what she just said. Everybody, let me know if you can see my slide that says science and creation. Uh-oh.
I see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Here's the bottom line. Y'all see that? Scientific theories may, and they usually do, conflict with theological statements, as what we just said earlier about the doctrine of creation versus the Big Bang theory. Okay. So because they're simply on two different levels. That's all. And I think sometimes we don't allow the two to exist. you know um if one person ascribes to the Big Bang theory, okay, and if somebody ascribes to the doctrine of creation, okay, but those two, what do I want to say, the theory and the doctrine are on two different levels, so they're not going to be in agreement. Yeah. Okay, so one is dealing with science, the other is dealing with theology. So the doctrine of creation is not really a scientific theory. It's theology. So excuse me, I like what Ramona said, and I think I kind of had it on here. But science is not concerned with what preceded the Big Bang theory. So the Big Bang theory, said it was this energy and these atoms, and they came together or whatever. But the doctrine of creation says even God created the energy and the atoms and the space and the movement and all of that stuff for it to bang together. That's what the doctrine of creation will say. And then sometimes, people get into these arguments about, oh, this is what I believe, and it's totally fine. Believe it. Here's the thing: the theory and the theology they're like two different animals. So there's no point in arguing about it, because it's like arguing oranges to a computer. They're on two different levels, and they're always going to disagree with each other. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's hit these two terms. We're doing pretty good with our time. Two terms to know: dualism and monism. Dualism and monism. I wish I had a little pointer here. So the key things that I want you to understand when you see these words, look at the roots. Dual. So duo, like if we were a duo, we would be two, a couple. Okay. And dualism says that there are two primary principles. And this way of thinking about creation, remember we're still talking about creation. Dualism said, therefore, this principle said that creation was formed out of some already existing material, right? So there was some type of material and it came into contact with something and it made something. That's what dualism says. Monism, monism. This one says or attributes that creation comes from one, one source. Look at that word mono, the prefix Mono means one. Okay, so make sure that you know, you'll see this again, what monism is: creation from one source. Dualism says, yeah, it was creation, but it was some other material and it came in with something else, and then that's how it was created. But dualism will usually go against Christian theology. Okay. Okay. So let's pause. Anybody, questions, comments? Want to add anything?
No, but Professor, I would like to be excused. I have that Monday, Thursday service I have to be
Yes, that's
on
right.
program. Okay.
Okay, we'll talk, okay?
Okay, thank you so much. Love y'all.
Okay, love you
Have a
too.
wonderful Resurrection Day on Sunday.
We sure will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, chat. Okay.
Let me write these two things down.
Okay. And if you get stuck, it's on the PowerPoint for week 5.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Right. Okay, there was a hand here. Oh, that was Ruben. Ruben, you had a question.
I think it was more of a comment, and perhaps I need to go back and study a little bit more about the Big Bang Theory. Because
Right.
for me, when I hear about the Big Bang Theory, it's always like, well, there was this big explosion of things happening, which is to me consistent with what's in the Bible. It's like God said it, bang, it happened.
Bang, it happened.
Exactly.
and it occurred. I got you. Let's see here. Let me see if I can pull up something real quick.
He said, "Be and it is."
And it occurred. Let me see if I can pull this up here. I'm coming back to you. Hold on one second. Brian, you all right? You there? Okay. I just pulled up the Big Bang Theory. Okay, this model, observable universe. This model describes how the universe expanded from an initial state of high density and temperature, and offers a comprehensive explanation for a broad range of observed phenomena. Okay, lights and all this stuff. Okay, so it looks like the Big Bang Theory is very scientific. And look over here in this box. I know it's real small. My eyes are bad, but it looks like, and I'm with you on that, Ruben. It looks like this theory is explaining there were particles or hydrogen, all that good stuff. Look like it came together. Yeah, that's really interesting. This stuff is deep, isn't it? All these galaxies.
It is.
Yes. Thank you, Ruben. All right. Any other questions, comments, anything bugging you? All right. Okay, everybody. Well, we have a light week. You have your discussion post, and I need to go back and going to grade the previous ones. Make sure that you do your registration. So, Brian, make sure you do your registration as well. And if you have any questions, just let me know, okay? And for the rest of my students in the religious studies program, I'm going to be emailing you a couple minutes after we leave off of this. And those people who are watching this video, please make sure that you do your registration for the summer. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.